you okay with me dropping your LinkedIn post in here as well? Or your LinkedIn,
Yeah, that's totally fine. Thanks.
if, there it is. I was like, I know I got it here.
Just looking through a bunch of settings right now. I want to play some audio and I want to make sure that my computer audio plays through Zoom. Do you
Sure,
know
go
where that
ahead.
is?
Yeah, just make sure when you click share that you click the checkbox
Oh,
that
it's in
says
share. Okay,
to share audio.
sweet. All right.
That's what I'm always forgetting. Golly.
I'm like going through every setting I can find here, but that is,
Yeah, Zoom does a lot of this stuff really well, but some of the little options you gotta dig. So okay, well ready to get started. Let's see. Okay, I'll give you a quick introduction and we'll get cranking, Ashley.
sounds great.
Cool. Okay, today we're joined by Ashley Kenny, global educator. Today, we're joined by Ashley Kennedy, a global educator, speaker, and creative learning strategist who spent 2 decades at the intersection of education, media, and technology. She's probably best known for her work at LinkedIn Learning, where she's produced over 100 top performing courses, led innovative projects like the Rapid Response AI course creation program, and interviewed 50 plus global thought leaders. She's also a seasoned instructor, storyteller, and textbook author who's passionate about helping people learn complex things in ways that are engaging, human centered, and future ready. Now, she's in a new chapter working with organizations to rethink how we all learn, adapt, and grow in an AI driven world. Did I manage to encapsulate all that, Ashley?
That's great. Very good. Thank you.
Well, run, thanks. Well, I'll get started. So, I mean, hey, we often struggle to reintroduce ourselves after service. So, from your experience of storytelling, education, what's the first step in reframing an identity for a new chapter?
Do you mind if I share my screen and start kind of talking about exactly those things?
Go for it.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to take over and do this, I'll
Awesome.
sit back and
Yeah.
be quiet. You know what you're doing far better than I do.
All right. Do you see
Yep, got it.
powering your career there? Okay. So I'm so happy to talk to you guys. I wanted to share a few personal stories around why I think this topic is so important. And I also want to get into the details of how I think that you can really use AI as a tool to empower your career and also to really dig into ways that your military service can best translate to the civilian world. And before you jump in, I guess you know all this from the introduction, but yeah, I've been teaching a lot of things for a lot of years. I was at LinkedIn for 15 years, and right now I'm really focusing on, making sure that people have what they need in order to uh, speak to their career development and career empowerment, and using AI to do that. Now, one of the things that I did teach, let's see, 9 years ago, not around 2016, 2017, I worked with an organization called Project Relo, and it was basically getting the veterans who were transitioning out of the military together with corporate executives on these off-road adventures. And there were many per year. They did them about once a month. And then I joined one of these excursions and saw firsthand what it was like when you got corporate executives and uh, uh, current military and military veterans together in ways that really allowed them to demonstrate their leadership, problem-solving skills, collaboration skills, um, grace under pressure, all sorts of those things. So I have this is why I wanted to be able to share my audio with you. I made a little trailer of that film, and I would just like to share it with you just to sort of give us some grounding as to why I am really quite passionate about this topic. And can you hear that?
I am humbled both on the last trip and this one at the way I feel about the veterans.
I didn't realize the depth that the military goes through for training and how much they have to do day in and day out and year out to train, to learn, to adapt. Today, I got a real good sense of that.
What I like about Project Reload is that it forces you to spend a lot of time with people. So a lot happens in a very short period of time. If you're looking to accelerate that process of helping people build relationships, this is it. This is a great way. But I think it's that concentrated focus of time coupled with some adversity, which really made it a ton of fun. And I am humbled by all the veterans. I am thankful for your service. But I think it's time for guys like us to be courageous and say, how can we give back?
Shake the hand of a hero. So, unbelievable. So, the point is, connections happen, right? Networks happen. It doesn't take that many. It's an exponential explosion, right? You get 10 good business guys talking to 10 guys. I hope there's 10 guys like this guy. I want to meet every one of them.
Project Reload is about helping organizations understand that hiring a veteran is way more than a social good. It's good business. And Project Reload sets that up by building relationships between executives and veterans, as well as between executives themselves. And in the end, all the participants win. There's no handouts given. There's none expected. Yet you can expect, coming out of a Project Reload mission, enriched and with a better understanding of a talent pool that can help you accomplish your organization's goal better, faster.
All right, so that was just a trailer. I put the full film in the chat if you ever want to check it out. But this was really my life for about a year. And I learned a lot about what it takes for veterans to speak, to turn their skills and background and experience and passion into the skills that the civilian workforce is looking for. And a lot of times it is just about speaking two different languages and learning how to speak the language that will get you the most success. So this workshop is around doing that with AI. And before I dive in, I do want to set the stage. This is not a beginner's walkthrough of ChatGPT or anything like that. I am assuming that you've at least worked with these tools before. And if not, that's fine. Literally what you see right here is a interface of typing in a prompt and getting a result. And so if you can type into a chat portal, that's all I'm asking you to be able to do, because really what I'm going to be going over today is more about strategy. It's about thinking how to use these tools, using them in smarter, more intentional ways to strengthen your career momentum, most specifically in transitioning to civilian careers. Because this is what most people put into the chat. When you just sort of start to ask it questions and then it's not quite what you want, and you just put these really vague prompts in to try to make it sound friendly or punch it up or make it sound more human, This is usually a sign that you're not totally clear on where you're at and what you want. So I want to go through ways to make things a little bit smarter and clearer with regard to those skills transfers. And so I just want to do a little audience chat here. How many of you have used AI to help in your career enablement so far? If you want to say how you've used it, if you want to say that you like it or are frustrated by it or whatever, I would love to just get a sense of, yeah, looks like a lot of people have used it. Very good. Which is great. People have been, you know, you could say what you've used. You've used ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. Love to learn kind of where you're at so that we can make this make the most of our time together. Great for translating military jargon. Oh, your research assistant, administrative assistant, absolutely. Lovely. Help with resume and CV, cover letters. Cool. All right. Very good, guys. So glad to know you're already using it. Hopefully a lot of the tips that we go over today will be more applicable to your specific type of search. And I'm going to start with really nailing down your personal branding. The first part of this I call know, show, grow. Know is getting clear on what you offer and where you want to go. Show is telling that story in a way that actually resonates. And grow is using AI to open doors to reach new audiences and adapt in real time. ChatGPT is my only friend. Oh, Michael, I'm sure that's not true. So we're going to kind of go through all of these steps with regard to translating military skills to civilian. All right, so this first step, know. Who are you? This is all about clarity, getting really intentional about your professional identity. Because before you can level up or attract new opportunities, you need to know who you are and what you bring to the table and where you want to go. So you need to do this kind of often hard work to determine what others say about you when you're not in the room. And again, a lot of times, most people are pretty surface level in how they interact with AI. They ask to make something sound more impressive or rewrite this for a specific job search. But again, it's really worth getting clear on your special sauce, your personal brand. And when you do that, ways that you work with AI will be better. So here are some questions you can help clarify in terms of what drives you, what are you working toward, what values shape the way you show up, what lights you up, what are your superpowers, and so on and so forth. There are lots of exercises that you may have used to get these answers. There's SWOT, there's which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. There's Ikigai, which helps connect what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. There's brand decks. There's all these. I don't have time in this training to go through them. I did give you call out a little graphic here for Ikigai. But it's really important that like you use all of this beautiful Venn diagram to really kind of like arrive at your own Ikigai of not only what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you'll actually be paid for. And there's, just Google it. There's so many ways for you to actually find that. And a lot of times it actually is not exactly what you would expect. This is what, the way you show up, the way you show up, but it's also the way you show up, the way others see you show up. So yeah, look up SWOT or Ikigai or brand deck. And all of that needs to happen and it takes a while. But then when you have that, you come back to kind of what we're going to talk about here. So you'll basically need to fill out this sentence. I help who achieve what through how. And this is establishing your positioning statement. This kind of brand clarity becomes the engine behind everything that I'm going to talk about next. So for what it's worth, here's mine. I create learning experiences, strategic content, and creative tools that help people clarify their voice, expand their impact, and navigate change with confidence. So that's my positioning statement, but yours will be very different. And then once you've done this internal reflection, it's helpful to flip the lens and see how your brand is showing up externally. And this is where you can use AI as a mirror. You can paste in your LinkedIn profile, your website, your bio, your portfolio, and then ask ChatGPT to analyze the themes and the tone of how you're coming across. Ask if it's consistent, if your values are clear, if your tone is aligned to where you're headed. Because a lot of times what we intend to communicate isn't what's actually landing. So AI can help you surface those disconnects so that you can tighten your messaging and show up more intentionally. So here are just some prompts, like if I was giving this to a regular business audience that you can think about. The first one you've seen before: distill my work down to the core problems I solve. Phrase it as, I help who to achieve what by how. You can also see that using prompts about reviewing your resume and LinkedIn profile, and also asking it questions about your personal brand and helping you write a brand statement. But I just took this first one, distill my work down to the core problems I solve, and provide 5 variations through a military lens. So if you were looking at project operations focus, I help organizations achieve operational excellence by bringing military tested discipline, planning, and execution to complex projects. You can see the rest there, each through a different lens: leadership, problem solving, collaboration, mission, and purpose-driven focus. Each of those is a little different with regard to the types of opportunities that you are pursuing. And I love this about AI. If the tone comes off not quite what you want in one, you literally just in the prompt say, I need 5 variations in 5 different tones. And just keep going and then keep iterating on the one that you like. If you're really interested in sales, then kind of look at the leadership, the collaboration, the cross-functional focus, and see how your personal brand that you've kind of gotten crystal clear on is able to translate in those ways. And then once you do this with clarity, then AI can become a megaphone that helps you express yourself through your resumes and your bios and your portfolios and your thought leadership content that's actually aligned to who you are. So after doing all this foundational work, I really recommend finding 3 to 5 brand pillars. And, for those of you who are already kind of posting on LinkedIn and showing your thought leadership, amazing. For those who haven't yet, or, think it's a bunch of hype, I just encourage you a little bit to figure this out, because getting crystal clear on those brand pillars and the content that you share and the ways that you show up can be really helpful as you transition from the military into civilian service. So I kind of, rather than spraying lots of different thoughts, kind of get around 3 to 5. These become the backbone of your messages, of your messaging, your bio, your website, your portfolios, and so on. And then this allows you to really get a little bit more consistent on what you want to deliver. Robert.
Yes, thank you. I'm just really curious. I have very little interaction with ChatGPT. I have trust issues, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I was kind of curious about is all the companies look at resumes, or they see your website and all this stuff, and they see that everything is written a certain way. But then when they meet me, it doesn't line up. Like, I am very rough around the edges. I don't do very well being nice, I guess. So I guess, what is everybody's recommendation for that? Because by using it, I feel fake. It's not me.
Well, there's the way you show up online. There is the way that you show up in your credentials, your resume and your LinkedIn profile. And there's the actual interview of you talking to people. And I would recommend that the way that you show up in all of those ways should exist in the same universe. You can't have your credentials just live completely outside of who you are as a person. So really make sure that as you are developing your credentials with AI as your companion, that you bring your whole self into that. You do not want them to be separate worlds. And so, a lot of, I guess the trust issue thing is an interesting point, but like my interactions with ChatGPT, it knows me so well. It knows my voice. It knows how I like to express myself. It knows what I bring to the table. It knows how I like to show up. And so I think because I have that degree of interaction with it, it then allows my voice to sort of shine. So it's a great point that, you don't want to like have your credentials be sterile and non-personal. You want it to be you. Um, and then also, there are ways to show up in person that presents your best self, and that's sort of a different skill set in terms of interviewing that I could go into in another training. But I guess getting back to just this one with regard to AI, I really encourage you to have your personality and your personal brand voice in every part of your credentials, so that those worlds aren't too separate.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, there was another hand that just went down. So if you'd like to ask a question, you can. Otherwise, I'll move on and we can come back.
Line, Heather.
Hi. I actually just wanted to caveat and kind of give some supporting information to what he just said. Being a little bit paranoid with AI, sure, I get it, but you could create a profile based off somebody you made up. It doesn't actually have to be you. And then secondly, relating a lot to what you're saying, being rough around the edges. What if you show up and you're doing an interview and what you have on paper isn't aligning with your personality? You can really use AI to kind of meet in the middle, decide what qualities you want to carry forward, kind of use it like a trial and error thing. And then you'll also find that as you define the tone that best matches with your inside voice, it can really help you to show up in the way that you want to be perceived. So rather than shoving it out the door, it is a very valuable tool that can really help translate to everybody rather than just the smaller communities that we're likely coming from. That was it.
Thank you, Heather. That's awesome. Absolutely. And yeah, I really do get the trust and the paranoid sentiment of this tool. And I guess I've been in it so thickly for the last couple of years and been teaching it that I really do see, well, I'm leaning in today on how it can be a tool to help you, given all of those concerns as well. So here are some, the new flex that you may or may not have tried, which I really want to make sure that you are aware of, is using AI as a role play tool. You can ask it to act like a career coach or like a past manager or, anything that you want. Whatever role it is that you are interested in getting feedback about, use AI and tell it that's what it is. You are a very successful career coach. You are my supervisor in the military from this point in my life. You are my future boss, and then get the responses through those different lenses. So in the military lens, again, it's about getting more specific. One powerful way to clarify your personal brand is to think about what motivated you in service, about leading people, solving problems, being part of something bigger. And so if you go through some of these, again, role play a lot of times simulates the interview environment. So if you ask it to be a specific person or persona, then you have the opportunity to really practice the interview as many times as you want, through as many lenses as you want, before you actually get in front of a person. And I won't go through all of these. You can sort of read yourself, but you can see future vision, past manager. What is it through these people's lenses that I can ask questions to that will allow me to open up something different about myself? All right, and here's some responses that might come as a result of those. In the Army, I was motivated by leading my team, through tough missions. In my civilian career, I want to be known for leading diverse teams with that same clarity and resilience, and so on and so forth. So for you to be able to use AI as a role play coach in order to arrive at these clearer, I don't know, just sort of brand statements can be helpful. So that's no. You've done the work to surface what drives you, what sets you apart, and what you want to be known for. And you have to do this work before you actually show and grow. So this part is hard, and it sometimes takes some time, and it takes some creativity in the prompts that you throw at it, but it's very, very important to do that so that you know what it is that you're offering, especially because there can be different languages spoken between military and civilian worlds. Here's another prompt I'd love to throw at you. Do you think your LinkedIn profile or other credentials show where you're headed or just where you've been? Do you think that your LinkedIn profile or other credentials mostly show where you're headed or just where you've been? And hopefully this is a leading question that is going to help you. This next section can help you crystallize where it is that you're headed, because that's what's important. That is what's important, what skills you bring forward. So now we're moving into show. How do you show up online? First and foremost, before we move from the online environment, your online presence is already telling a story, whether you've shaped it intentionally or not. So the real question is, what is the story that you actually want to tell? So here are a few questions you can check in with. Is your personal brand clear to others? Do your values and tones come through consistently? And is your message aligned with where you want to go? Not just what you did, but where you want to go. And there's a couple of things I'm going to go through. LinkedIn profile is the first. It's very, very important. It is your billboard. It tells your story 24/7. If you never look at it, that's a problem, because that's the thing that's going to be demonstrating who you are when you're not in the room. Okay. So there are a couple of things there. Your headline, your about section are, your headline should reflect who you are, your unique value and positioning. Again, that position statement I talked about earlier. Once you arrive at your position statement, a lot of times that's what people put in their headline. I have it as the first line in my About Me section. So just once you get clear on that, it should live in your LinkedIn profile somewhere. Here are some prompts that could be helpful at this stage. Things like, does your tone match your ambition? Does your positioning match your future? Does your summary reinforce what you want to be found for? Not just what you've done, but what you want to do. Everything right now, you should be thinking about future instead of past when you're specifically looking for your next opportunity, your next job. But learning how to incorporate what you've done in order to inform that future vision. Here are those same prompts, but with a military lens. So, what key themes, tone, and value from my military service does my LinkedIn profile communicate? When you get insight from there, feed that back to reworking your LinkedIn profile. Rewrite my summary to show how my military background translates into strengths as a whatever you want to be. Whatever it is that you want to be, you need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is showing that. Again, it is your billboard 24/7. You can see that I'm also doing a little bit of role play and a little bit of looking at different lenses. I want to look through the eyes of a recruiter. I want to look through the eyes of my future manager. I want to look through the eyes of a peer. And so this is all very useful as you start to refine how you're showing up. Elevator pitches. This is, again, your elevator pitch needs to flex depending on who's listening. An executive in a more formal setting or a peer at an industry event. Again, AI can help you refine this in real time to suit the audience. Again, something helpful to start with here is your core brand story, your why, your positioning, your distinct voice, and then just ask ChatGPT to shape it for different contexts. Hey, I'm going to a networking event. This is for executives. This is an informal coffee meetup sort of thing. Because you do not want to talk about yourself in the same way to a C-suite executive as opposed to something informal. So having AI really feed your personal brand statement through these various lenses is really useful. So let me just move on to the military. I have like kind of business example and military example for all of these. I'm just gonna move to the military one from the, oh, is this the one? I don't have one for this one. Anyway, so this is the executive lens, the micro story lens, the peer lens. And you can see that this is the military lens, play the role of a fellow veteran or new colleague asking me, what makes your work unique? Help me answer with confidence by drawing on qualities like focus, adaptability, and leadership. So this is really about drilling into those different lenses. Another thing about showing up are your bylines and bios. Like your LinkedIn profile, these are ways that you introduce yourself, who you are, but they tend to show up in more varied contexts. Like if you are delivering a presentation or have a publication or you're on a podcast or whatever. And again, this needs to flex depending on where you're at and how you're showing up. Your podcast blurb shouldn't sound like your conference intro. It shouldn't sound like your academic speaker, and so on and so forth. Again, you can rework these in different styles and tones. And so with show, this is your professional presence now telling a cohesive and compelling story, both online and offline. And this is about finding ways to show who you are and the value you can offer. All right, so next is grow. And this is where your story starts working for you. It's about cultivating strategic, consistent, and aligned visibility. This phase is about expanding your presence in ways that build credibility and create momentum and frankly open new doors. There are 3 levers that I'm interested in exploring. Thought leadership, this is how you share your perspective to build credibility on LinkedIn or wherever you show up. Network engagement, this is how you connect online with others in meaningful and strategic ways. And also content repurposing, how you scale your voice without burning out. So in terms of thought leadership, going back to those, again, the kind that builds trust and differentiates you and makes people pay attention. The goal isn't just to post or show up, it's about consistency with perspective with your special sauce. And a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people lean way too heavily into using too much AI. You see too many AI generated posts that clearly have not been customized, and that is not what you want. But a better way would be to start by brainstorming 10 to 20 ideas that connect back to your brand pillars and speak to your audience. So whatever it is you've landed on with your personal branding and your special sauce and who it is you want to connect with, those are great ways to think about what you want to say on LinkedIn or wherever else you show up. All right, so here are some ideas. Give me some 5 content ideas that challenge, this conventional wisdom about this industry, and so on and so forth. Through a military lens, I took these as different ways that military veterans might lean into this with regard to content ideas, creating LinkedIn posts, identifying workplace and industry trends, and even just practicing conversations with civilian colleagues that ask about your military background. The main point here is to be specific and to make sure that it aligns with how you want to show up, but really getting the practice to kind of look at that through different lenses and roles. Number 2, network engagement. This doesn't mean constantly commenting or endlessly reaching out to people when you're in the job search. It means being smart and strategic in the ways that you show up. And again, you can use AI to brainstorm and draft comments that actually add to the dialogue here. So it's about adding, not just reacting to people's thoughts and opinions. It's about creating meaningful outreach so you show up more clear and confident. So here's my business prompts, in responding to various posts and thought leadership. And here's through the military lens. Write a warm comment on this post that ties to my military background, showing curiosity, generosity, and how mission-focused teamwork translates to the topic at hand. It can also just be a lot more casual than that. Just be like, I'd like to respond to this post that shows my leadership through my military background. And usually take what it has and then iterate from there, because it's usually not the best to take the first draft there. All right, so growing is all about expanding your value and your visibility, sharing your ideas in ways that spark recognition and deepen relationships, building momentum before you actually even apply for any jobs. I just say this because most people when you apply for a job, most people from the company that are interested in you will go to your LinkedIn profile and see what it is you're posting, how you're showing up, how you're interacting with others. This is all very visible public stuff, and so it's important to be intentional about it. So now we're heading into the final phase, which is activate and apply. This is where your personal brand starts turning into real world outcomes and impact. So it's not just about being seen anymore. It's about taking that visibility and turning it into traction. Activate is about where you apply your momentum. And I encourage you to use AI to think about how you expand beyond online, or find those non-obvious companies or even industries that are aligned with your values. Or rethink what roles you may want to pursue. And this can be a pretty cool journey in self-discovery, and a smart way to uncover opportunities that you may have overlooked. So here's some business prompts. List 10 conferences or industry events where someone with my brand pillars would be a strong fit as a speaker, and so on and so forth. If you look at it through a military lens, here's a few that you might want to tailor. List 10 conferences on veteran-friendly industry events where someone with my military background would be a strong fit as a speaker. Brainstorm 10 potential visibility opportunities for veterans in transition, so on and so forth. All right. So as you are looking to activate or actually bring your skills into the world, be specific in your veteran specific prompts. Here are a few prompt ideas to help you translate your skills into new spaces, which is very important for this group, or to start mapping your trajectory. So not just where you could go next, but where you could grow over time. And you can also use this to explore paths you haven't even named yet, roles or industries or opportunities that you may not have considered. So my business prompts suggest 10 adjacent job roles where my skills as a whatever could translate well. List industries expected to grow significantly in the next 3 to 5 years due to AI, and how can I contribute? And here's military, that through a military lens. Suggest 10 adjacent civilian job roles where my skills as a logistics officer, platoon leader, intelligence analyst, and so on could translate well, even if those roles don't appear in my current job description. I found this to be very useful. So for you to, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You are looking for roles that you think you'd be suitable for, but AI can actually help open some possibilities and doors that you might just not even be aware of. So it's kind of like having a career coach in that way. Career arcs based on my current military skills and industry trends. Outline 3 possible career arcs over the next 5 years. So yeah, all I've done is adapt this presentation that I normally give to business leaders for military. And it's just about being a little bit more specific with the way you want to show up and who you want to show up for. All right, so again, activating is the story here is that you're no longer waiting to be discovered. You're shaping how and where you want to show up and the value you want to bring. And the final stage is apply. Again, activate is all about identifying momentum, and apply is about moving on it and turning clarity into opportunities. So this is about high impact relationship building, opportunity generation, high stakes negotiations, and that sort of thing. I'd like to think of this as beyond just landing any job. It's about finding ways to create new opportunities and influence new spaces. And I think this is where AI becomes a tool for scaling action, helping you build systems and spot patterns and gain real world insight into how you're showing up. Okay. So here are some prompts to actually take action. This is where AI starts to act like a career strategist. Again, helping you explore how organizations are investing and how industries are shifting and where your values could be plugged in. Here are the business prompts. Review these public-facing job listings, and so on and so forth, and identify where they're signaling investment or innovation in AI and where my skills could create additional value. All right, and here are the military specific ones. Review these public-facing job listings, press releases, and so on for this company. Where are they signaling investment in innovation, security, or AI, and show how my military background in leadership, operations, logistics, intelligence could add unique value. Again, it's a lot of you don't know what you don't know. And so if you see a company that looks interesting to you, you can actually have AI browse the internet, look at their job postings, and identify patterns for you so that you can benefit from those and plug yourself in ways that you might not have seen otherwise. Again, role plays. I love role plays. Role play is skeptical senior leaders, C-suite leaders, or complex negotiations, and asking it to go through these scenarios. Apply is about turning clarity and visibility into real-world outcomes, all right? The goal is that it's grounded in strategic and intentional action that reflects exactly who you are and where you are going. I am going to pause. I don't know how long I have just one more section, which is about getting found, like how to work with your resume and credentials to make sure that you are getting found in all the right ways. But have I gone over, or do I have
No, you're
5
good.
more minutes?
You're good. You're good. We got until about 4 o'clock, you know.
Okay. All right. So we're in the home stretch here. So far, we focused on how you shape your story, how you show up with intention, how you create momentum, and how you take action. But there's also a layer that, a practical layer of visibility that's often invisible. Because even if your story is strong and your outreach is right on point, if your materials aren't aligned to how systems find talent, then you could be missing opportunities and connections. Okay, so we're going to be talking about resume alignment, making sure your keywords are right on, making sure that you're visible to recruiters, and also some AI-based tailoring techniques. So many of you are likely and maybe painfully aware that today's hiring isn't just about being the best candidate, it's about being findable. That means understanding how recruiters and applicant tracking systems, or ATS, filter and search. In many cases, these systems scan for exact matches, job titles, key skills, required tools. And so if your resume doesn't reflect the language in the job description, it may never be seen by a human, especially if you're applying to jobs where hundreds or more than 1,000 people have applied. If your keywords don't match, you won't be seen. So this is where AI can help you reverse engineer your materials, checking to see if your language mirrors the roles that you're aiming for. This is where we stop thinking of your resume as a record and think of it as a living, breathing, searchable signal. So these prompts help you shape how your story gets read by both machines and people. You can use AI to mirror the language that boosts visibility and prioritize relevance over chronology. A lot of people always have the most recent job at the top, but if it's not the most relevant job, most recruiters read the first bullet and scan the rest, just so you know. So if your most important relevant thing to the job that you're applying for is from 5 or 10 years ago, you're going to want to find a way to not show up chronologically and show up topically and logistically with regard to how it is you want to be seen. Okay, so reorder by relevance. Make sure that you are finding your keywords from the job description and putting them in your resume. I know a lot of people try to creatively put them in the bullets of the resume, but there's also people that have just a skills section. And it's like, here are all the skills that I bring to the table. And it's just about finding the keywords from the job description and putting them in that skills section so you don't have to like force them into the bullets of your resume. But these are some prompts that I find useful with regard to making sure your resume is is being read correctly by the ATS. Smart keyword insertion, extract the top 10 soft and technical skills from this job description and suggest edits to integrate them into my resume, or like I said, just drop them into your skills section. Here are a few remix suggestions and how you can use AI instead of rewriting your resume every time. Something you could do is build a master resume. Again, a living document that holds all of your wins and metrics and milestones, and then use that to quickly remix into tailored versions. And an AI can do this really quickly. So even if your master resume is 5-6 pages long, you can feed the job description into ChatGPT, and you can feed your master resume into ChatGPT, and you have to say, from this master resume and this job description, create a focused version that emphasizes X, okay? And, you know, often that's not going to be a chronological display of your job experience, but it's going to be presented in the way that makes sense for that job description. So tailoring per job description used to be a whole lot of work before AI. Now it's much less work because you can, you know, feed both into it and really have what it does best, which is spot patterns, work for you in those regards. Here are some prompts that speak to these efforts. So you can see that it's about analyzing job listings and assessing them for basic skills and themes. Again, it's about feeding both your resume and the job description into AI and get its take on what's missing that will get you seen. One thing, so here, analyze these 5 job listings. What are the most important skills, values, and themes across them? And then that can inform how you actually show up with your resume and credentials. Pointing out gaps. Compare my resume to this job description. What am I missing that might get me filtered out? It's frustrating that it is this way where you might not ever get seen by a human, but if you can game the system or basically just flex into how you know it's being seen, which is through these ATS keyword searches. And again, it has to be super specific many times. If those don't show up, you won't be seen. There are also, if you want to be more strategic about how you're positioning self, there are some AI-powered platforms that can help beyond ChatGPT. There's Teal that helps you organize and track your search while also offering optimization tips. JobScan that scores your resume on LinkedIn or LinkedIn profile against real job descriptions. Resi uses AI to generate polished resumes with built-in recruiter logic, and Resume AI is about targeted keyword-based writing that speaks ATS language. So yeah, if you had a career coach or an executive coach or just someone look over your resume, one resume is not going to cut it. You really want to make sure to customize it per time that you apply for a job, but it doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel every time because AI is really good at spotting those patterns between the two and can help you position yourself well with that. And I will stop there.
This is some great stuff. Anybody have any questions on this? Because this is like a ninja master class, all condensed and drinking from the fire hose.
A little fire hosey today. I'm sorry.
No, it's a ton.
But I wanted to show you that video up front to show you how well it was really, really wonderful to spend that much time with the veterans and learning their struggles and how to try to help them as best as possible translate their skills. And only recently have I been doing that through these AI trainings. So I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has anything.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, can you share like those screenshots or those slides so that
yeah, yes. Okay, can I they're not ready right now. I have to create a PDF and then
no, that's all right.
I'll
drop my email for you.
Should I share? Yeah, can you chat me there we go. All right, I'm going to send it to you, Ernest.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see if I can get it published to our stuff so folks can use that as a guide.
Perfect. I'll do that right after this call so that it's ready for you.
That is fantastic. Thank you. Because I know we can get a ton of use out of that for a long time to use that with the instruction and the coaching and all that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I mean, is there any pitfalls with this stuff that you see that, doing what you do, you see coming down the road between basically, what it's becoming is, hey, here's my AI resume to go an AI ATS. And,
Yeah.
how long do you think that can last before eventually somebody goes, yeah, bring some humanity back in, or do you not see that happening anytime soon?
No, I mean, every tool that I showed you is the starting place for you to then put your own voice and customize it further. You don't want to ever let AI generated output speak for you without coming back and editing it and revising it and injecting your humanity in it. When I said that, like, if you interact with AI long enough, it sort of recognizes your voice and your perspective and what you bring to the table. That's true, but then that doesn't mean that you don't actually take it afterwards and make sure that it does truly represent you. The worst is seeing those AI generated resumes that clearly somebody did not do that, and then that'll get you tossed to the curb. So I think that use the tools that I showed you in order to sort of like, you know, check the boxes of what needs to happen at a base level, but then make sure to come back and put your own branding and your own voice into it. Otherwise, it's that will bite you in the foot.
Yeah, give it a pulse instead of a robot.
Yeah.
I like the way you put that. Any other closing thoughts you'd like to share with us before you go?
Good luck, everyone. I also, if you want to tell me on reach out on LinkedIn and share more specific issues or problem. Like I want to be able to give you relevant training. So if there's specific things that you think would be useful beyond what I shared, I'd love to know, in case I speak to the veteran
Yeah,
community again. So yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm here and I want to help.
that's awesome. I just shared your LinkedIn again for anybody who missed it earlier on. Nudge, nudge. So those folks can go and connect with you and get some more advice. Hey, Ashley, the Kennedy Group, thank you very much for spending some time with us. I'm definitely looking forward to looking through those slides again and trying to hone my skills. So when I talk to people, I can pick those things up. So thank
Cool.
you very much.
Thanks, Ernest. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Hey, y'all, we're all set for this